Hello everyone, I'm Mike DeAngelo with That's Entertainment, and this is your video review of 3D Dot Game Heroes by Silicon Studios. Earlier this year, a game called Darksiders clearly favored the popularized Zelda franchise and utilized much of the same style of gameplay. However, that title masked the adventure under a brawler exterior, which made the game feel somewhat like its own game, rather than a retread. But what happens when a game treads familiar territory so closely that nearly everyone can feel the nostalgia oozing out from it? 3D Dot Game Heroes bravely takes this question to heart and delivers a quirky, fun title for the PlayStation 3, which makes no excuses for borrowing from the games of yesteryear. A secondary question remains: how much originality does a game need to flourish? In the Kingdom of Dotnia, legends speak of a terribly evil Dark King named Onyx, who would like nothing more than to bring misery and tragedy to all of the world's inhabitants. To do so, he needs to collect and hide 6 orbs from civilization. Only a person of the hero's bloodline, with a sacred sword, can possibly find the 6 orbs and the 6 sages associated with them, stopping Onyx from rising back up to continue his quest of tyranny. Sound familiar? It should. Though the items and names have been changed, the narrative screams Legend of Zelda. The best part is that 3D Dot Game Heroes is shameless in its implementation. It goes into its puns and tongue-in-cheek humor wholeheartedly and doesn't look back. The jokes don't stop with Zelda either. Hordes of other retro titles like Mega Man and Contra are on the list of those playfully ridiculed. Of course, because the story is practically nothing but a mockery, the narrative and character development is sparse. It is there to some effect thanks to a Navi wannabe fairy, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. If the story seems familiar, the gameplay will feel like robbery. The first item you get is a boomerang. Instead of hearts and heart pieces, you get apples and apple pieces. Bombs, bows, and an item similar to the hookshot also make appearances. Beyond that, several things manage to bump the game up a notch or two in intuition. For example, you can upgrade your weapons by visiting a blacksmith. You can upgrade the length and width of your sword to ridiculous results, increase its power, or give it a special attack. Though regular enemies are your typical adventure game fare, such as slimes, killer rabbits, and even a variation of Zelda's Tektites, bosses are humongous and impressive. They require a little more precision and patience to utterly destroy. Of course, one of the most important things about this game is the way that it looks on screen. The game isn't called 3D Dot Game Heroes for nothing. The King of Dotnia grows tired of the two-dimensional world that everyone lives in. Instead, he decides to go 3D to try and inspire more people to settle in the kingdom and make it a more beautiful place. For the most part, he succeeds in full. Though the game seems like nothing but a collection of 3D pixels, each one is rendered beautifully, as weird as that sounds. Special effects and water look brilliant, even though they are not in pixelated form like the rest of the game. The music and sound fits the retro vibe as well. Were it not for the kind of music that most gamers are used to nowadays, the tunes used here might have had the same kind of staying power as the themes from Zelda. They have enough charm to make the game enjoyable throughout, however. One thing that the game delivers in droves is a lengthy experience. There are plenty of things to enjoy while playing 3D Dot Game Heroes. Beyond the multiple swords that you can majorly upgrade, there is a slew of hidden alcoves that you can locate to find items, gold, and container upgrades. Unlike the classic game that it emulates, there are plenty of mini-games that also take stabs at some of the old-school favorites, like Tower Defense and Breakout. Each of these uses the main game's engine to facilitate, usually to hilarious results. Still, the game has more to offer. Though there are plenty of preset characters to choose from, you aren't locked down to any of them. Instead, you can let your creative side out and create your own custom character. If you were so inclined, you could even recreate Link in pixelated 3D form and relive the game as a new legend. "3D Dot Game Heroes" proudly stands in the shadow of the game it tries to emulate. While it doesn't march forward with enough ideas or concepts to break new ground, its quaint sense of humor and playful jabs at the game industry, and itself, manage to bring a lighthearted journey to fruition that is worthy to play. With a lower price tag than most PlayStation 3 games, this one is certainly more worthy of a purchase if it fits into the kind of genre that you like to play. That's Entertainment awards 3D Dot Game Heroes a score of 8 out of 10.